7. I'm your host, Christine.
And I'm Niko.
And we hope you guys are all staying safe and indoors and clean in this time. weird time.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy out there, guys. So thank God for comics as being a way to escape everything that's happening at this point. You know, a form of entertainment where I can just sit down and enjoy something else for a moment.
Yeah.
Right. So. I got a news update at the time of recording, just prior to recording this today. I'm just seeing news articles floating around on comic websites mentioning the fact that Diamond Comics distributors are ceasing receiving products for distribution due to coronavirus.
Oh, shit.
So, like, if you listened to our last episode, we actually talked about maybe trying to do something else because our store was going to be closed or has been closed due to the COVID. And as a result, we weren't going to be getting our regular Diamond orders and our new comics every week that we would normally talk about. Just this past week now, they've actually gone ahead and they're trying to figure out ways like some other stores are doing of offering curbside pickups. So basically people will place pickups and you'd be able to pick up the product. So we might get our comics for the next couple weeks, but then I saw this article now saying that Diamond Comic Distributors, this is off Newsarama, by the way, has asked printers to stop sending new comic books and other products for distribution. They state they've confirmed that Diamond warehouses will no longer accept incoming product for distribution to direct market retailers in the wake of economic slowdown across the country due to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, which has included both the permanent and indefinite shuttering of some comic book stores around the country. Now, this is going to hurt the industry in the whole. I mean, I know that this is hurting all businesses, but I didn't foresee this to be an issue because many comic book stores have been taking the precautions necessary. We've been told that shipping things around is still fine during this period of time so far, but I guess, you know, they just don't want to have anybody go outside the house in many of these states, in the States, as well as maybe soon in Ontario as well.
How many people that work at this warehouse,
right?
At these warehouses, probably.
Right. So, like, I didn't know that was going to actually be affected. Although, like, as you know, the weeks go by, slowly everything has started to be affected as a result of this. We're seeing like more of a slower rollout for some. Other businesses trying to adjust and not be affected by this. But, I mean, quite frankly, at this point, I can't say I'm surprised, but the comic industry being not in a fragile state like usually as it is. And not only that, the comic book stores are going to be affected by this. This is pretty huge. Like, you might see comic book stores close all the time, but without being able to sell any new product, that's really going to hurt some of these businesses. So then it just went on to say some retailers have called for a moratorium or slowdown of new product shipping during the crisis already, I guess, because they weren't planning on selling the product. But they said Monday, March 23rd, which is the time of this recording and this show will go out, marks final order cutoff for April 15th releases. So it looks like you guys got about maybe 3 more weeks of new release stuff that might come out. And then after that, they said, you know, Diamond will reportedly continue distributing existing product from its warehouses. So whatever, I guess they've already got.
They have.
Yeah. So like if any of the comic companies have sent them stock of stuff that they've already, you know, previously solicited for that they're sitting on, they'll still send that stuff out. But, you know, chances are like they said, if it's a cutoff for April 15th releases, they probably don't have anything much past that point. So yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people are saying they're going to be looking at reading things digitally, that companies will still be putting out stuff during that period of time digitally. But what that means for even like the Wednesday Warriors, the people that go into comic book stores week to week to pick up their issues, but like there's going to be, if they're never going to come out, there's just going to be a gap in their collection now? You know what I mean? Like, will they eventually come out? I mean, I know this is the least of anybody, should be the least of anybody's worries right now. But as comic fans, you know, you still want to cut some answers, right? Yeah. So. hopefully, that is more, it's made more clear to us in the coming weeks now as a result of this, and this doesn't last that long. But so we are not fans of reading stuff digitally. We like to actually read it physically. So as I said last week, this might be our last week, but moving forward, you might actually hear a couple more weeks out of us, depending on, like I said, my store's position now with curbside pickup. But then past a certain point, it doesn't look like anybody's going to be talking about new books that come out physically. So week to week, as everything changes, you might hear different updates from you might hear different updates from us every time you listen to us as well. So stay tuned. Either way, we're trying to come out with our weekly episodes as planned. But if there's new releases actually being sent out like physically, then chances are we won't be talking about it after a certain point, right? So stay tuned. Anyways, Christine,
on to happier news.
Yeah,
we had a delicious wine.
Yeah, that was great.
Menage a Trois Lavish Merlot. So usually the Menage a Trois are a blend, but this was just a Merlot, and oh my god, it was delicious. I know it's a little bit more on like the pricier end, but it's worth it. It was so good. Yeah. It was smooth. It was bold. Had lots of flavor.
Really good for a Merlot, and it was really, really good. I would like to pick that up again. That's another thing might have to rush out and get if it closes within the day. If it's deemed non-essential all of a sudden here. So
yeah.
All right. Anyways, fuck it. Let's get into the comics now. Enough of this.
Happy things.
Yeah.
So I guess it's me up first today. I'm going to start with Jane Foster Valkyrie. This is issue number 9.
Small week this week too, by the way. I only got about 10, I think,
10
to talk
books,
about.
Yeah. So this is written by Jason Aaron and Torun Gronbach. Guest artist by Ramon Rosanes.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with him at all.
He did the Ant-Man series. He was one of the main artists on that series a few years ago. I think you read that, the Nick Spencer Ant-Man series. Yeah. So I know
the name just didn't sound familiar.
Yeah, I know that person did art for that series. There's been other things I think I've read by them as well, but they're not like the biggest name artist out there.
Yeah. No. Okay. I didn't have any issue with the art at all for this. I didn't think it was above and beyond. And same with the story. I actually just kind of felt the story in this one was very lackluster. And I even read the first half of this about 3 times because I couldn't focus on it.
My fault.
Yes. But the story didn't really go anywhere. There was still just fighting between Valkyrie and Thor. Even when you get to like the big fights in the city, like on Earth, nothing really happened. I just found it very lackluster, this entire issue. I'd have to give this one a 3, and I was on such a high with it.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad to hear you say that, because I was actually going to come at this with the same thing, and I actually even the same rating, and I thought that you may have thought differently, because usually you really enjoy this series, but I don't know if this is a result of this new co-writer, Torun Grunbeck, who I think is a new writer to comics to begin with, that Jason Aaron's helping plot still, but then this person's the one writing it. But I agree, this was just a very boring issue.
I just think nothing really happened in it.
The art was fine, but it just, lackluster is the word for it. I just felt this was an otherwise pretty, usually a series that's surprising and kind of much different than what we would expect from a book like this. I felt this was very by the book and not very interesting. So I don't know. I felt the first issue with this person was set up pretty well, but then this one just kind of was like,
I didn't feel like it even moved the story along at all.
Yeah.
Like it just was boring. That's really all I can say with it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Absolutely agree. I gave it a 3 as well. Next up, I got Family Tree number 5 here by Jeff Lemire, art by Phil Hester. This is still a fucking weird book, man.
Oh man.
Every issue is really fucking weird. Basically, this whole issue was them. They basically got to a certain point in their travels and pulled over because in the car, the daughter that's been turning into a tree, she basically started growing roots, like where her legs were, her feet were supposed to be.
Her feet were growing roots.
Oh yeah, roots were coming out, and then they had this person who's like supposedly a doctor of some sort.
The one that they've been with the last few issues.
Yeah, but I'm just saying this. It's not a new person, but just like they still aren't really sure like
who they are.
She just knows shit about these tree people apparently.
The grandfather introduced them.
Right, and like she's trying to claim she's some sort of a doctor, but they don't really. That's
Which
why
doctor?
She starts asking her even in this, like so like. like what's going on exactly? Like, what do you know?
Yeah.
Like how are you helping us? But she's able to identify now that she sees the roots coming out. Like, she's like, oh my God, like I can't believe it's happening this fast. I've never seen it move this fast. Maybe it's because she's a child. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
But then they pull over and they bring her out to the fucking woods, and then they basically put her on the ground, and she's like,
her.
essentially, and then she's like, oh, I'm feeling great now. Like, she's basically like, her roots are like
grow.
going right into the ground, and then all of a sudden she just morphs into the fucking tree right in front of them. Like, her arms just starts outstretching, and then by the end of it, you get this sad last panel where like she turns to like the son or the brother of hers. She turns to the mother, and she's gone. Like, she basically like in front of their eyes. Like, she's like, don't worry, Mom, I'm not scared anymore. I could see it now. Like, she basically just turned into this fucking tree in front of them. and then the woman's like ecstatic, the doctor person, like, oh, you don't understand, this is wonderful. Like everyone's like so happy, and the mother's just like fucking crying and freaking out. She's like, I don't understand. Yeah, my fucking daughter's turning into a tree in front of me. Right?
How are you taking this so?
And then at the end, they jump 5 years into the future, and the world looks to be like taken over by like plant life or something,
like
right?
A forest,
right. And then the brother is older now, and he's like, that must be the brother, right? Okay, he's hacking his way through the woods with a big machete, and he's got like a Rambo fucking like thing, like bandana wrapped around his head. And I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be good. Like, I give this 5. This issue not only kind of was just disturbing because she actually turned into the fucking tree in this one, but then it had that like last 2 pages where it jumped to the future, and I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be badass.
Really
like, because they even said in the narrative, like, they're like, I couldn't tell at that moment in time, but like this was the end of the world. Like, they basically said like this moment, like her turning into the tree, everything that came afterwards was like some sort of a result of whatever went down there, right?
Here,
So I think that's the right move for them at the end of this arc, being that they jumped into the future, and now it's going to be like a whole other crazy setting.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to the next issue.
Yeah, I gave it a 5 too.
Yeah.
I thought it was wonderful. It was such a good freaking crazy issue.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I really like that as well.
Fucking batshit. Oh, so good. And it's so weird for Jeff Lemire too. Like, he does some weird things, but this is like the weirdest thing I think we've.
But I also feel that it actually is capturing
the family
two
aspect.
different. No, but that's the thing. It's actually capturing 2 different things that Jeff Lemire has been doing well. Like, these first 5 issues is that family thing, which with the weird fucking tree stuff going on. But now it's jumping to like a post-apocalyptic future setting, which is very like Sweet Tooth, very like, you know what I mean?
True.
Like, which
it's still very in his vein.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of playing with a lot of the different things he's known for.
Yeah,
like,
just
right?
in a real fucked up scenario.
I mean, the fact that the girl turned into a tree in this one, even though we knew it was coming, I was just like,
it happened so fast.
yeah, I know.
She's like, you're driving. Oh, I grew roots.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden she's like upright in the fucking forest, and I was just like, oh, okay. Like, she just morphed into a fucking tree. Yeah, it was crazy.
It was so good though.
Yeah.
So next up we have Arisen. This is the final judgment. This is by James Tynan. I always forget. Yeah, James Tynan the 4th, and Steve Epting on art.
Yeah.
Fuck. There's still no fucking ending.
Yeah. By the end of this, they said that it was going to go into the new Metal miniseries, the second one that Scott Snyder is doing, right? So,
literally, like, all that happened in this is you find out that Luther ends up losing his powers. So after everything that he fucking did in all of the books,
everything
ended in this.
Everything that happened from Justice League to Lex Luthor, Snyder's Justice League, which led into this, and everything that happened from Metal with Man Who Laughs, Batman, that led into this is now being led into Metal, and Luthor lost at the end essentially, and now the Man Who Laughs is pairing up with
Perpetua.
Yeah, from the Justice League.
But it just happened so fast. It was all of a sudden like, oh, Luthor, you lost your powers now. You're done.
Yeah.
And like, he's naked on Earth. And
yeah, for whatever reason, he somehow, Luthor thought he had the upper hand on the Man Who Laughs the whole issue, and then he turns around and is like, no, I've outsmarted you, and then he gets Perpetua to side with his pleads, and doing so, she takes away his power And like she's
so
like
weird.
he kind of basically just says like, listen, I'm your better chance of pulling this off, not this fucker, like this Luther,
Yeah,
right?
he's
Like
not going to do anything
and
for
like
you.
Luther's like, are you listening to this idiot? And then she's basically like, silence, like, you
Yeah.
know, like don't talk that way to me. She like removes his fucking powers and then like casts him away. And then you know, now he's just really out for revenge. So anyways, yeah, but at the end you see that now the Man Who Laughs and Perpetua, I guess, are going to be big
Teaming
characters
up
into
now,
this
yeah.
new death metal series that they're going to be doing. So
I gave it a 3.5.
I also gave it a 3.5. Yeah, I thought the art was good throughout. I liked it. I mean, you said Epting was the one that drew this,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I like Steve Epting. I wasn't sure if it was just him on this issue. It was. Okay. I like Steve Epting. I don't always feel that he's right for superhero comics because I'm so used to seeing, like, although, you know, I loved his Captain America stuff, but it was more like his spy shit, like
Yeah,
Velvet,
works
that,
better,
like,
yeah.
I think he's really good for more of like a creator-owned, like, real people
Yes.
book. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I wish he'd work with Brubaker again. You know what I mean? Like, he has books, I think, that are well suited for him that he
Yeah.
does, right? But this was it was okay. I again, I'm kind of annoyed that it did go into another.
Fuck.
I thought we were gonna finally get some sort of conclusion, but I should have known better once I heard that they announced that death metal thing like a month ago. I'm like, oh yeah, I should have known better that this was
Yeah.
never gonna end. And I'm
I
already
just remember after I finished it, you're like, so is there finality
Right.
here?
yeah. And then I was already planning on reading that, so I guess I'll be continuing
Yeah.
with this story.
We'll learn some more.
Yeah. Next up, I got Fantastic Four number 20 by Dan Slott, art by, I think it's Paco Medina, yes, who I'm a fan of. I thought I really like Paco Medina's artwork. Very clean line, very, you know, everybody looks good type of art. Kind of pops off the page, you know. It's definitely in that. I don't know if I'd say Stuart Eminem school. Maybe definitely in that school. I don't think it's as good as Stuart Eminem, but I liked this. This is finally, now we've moved on from the last arc, which was probably my least favorite arc of the
Yeah.
book since the start, which is that first arc, which was really rocky. So yeah, I mean, we're looking at, this is issue 20, so you're looking at what, like probably about, I don't know, 10, at least half the run actually. And that, if you look at it that way, I didn't really enjoy, but it was on such a roll after that initial first
It's
arc,
true,
right? But this was fun. I kind of, now they're on Earth and they're dealing with Johnny now bringing his soulmate, this girl from the
Sky,
planet,
isn't it?
yeah, from the planet that they just came from with their adventure, and they're now dealing with her, and she's finding herself useful as she adapts to Earth. Like, she's able to talk to birds and dinosaurs, because dinosaurs, you know, basically they said are like evolved from
Yeah.
birds and all that, or evolved into birds essentially. Like,
Yeah,
there's a lot of
when they evolved,
reptiles
yeah.
that had, like, you know, the same structure as
Like a pterodactyl.
exactly.
But for some reason, they said they had T-Rexes.
And in this, Johnny Storm is tasked to go help Wyatt Wingfoot, his friend, a very old Fantastic Four character. So if you're familiar with Fantastic Four, you most likely know him. He had left a message in their absence, but he had asked for all of the Fantastic Four, but Johnny is the one that basically answered the call. So when he showed up, he's like, oh, this is more of a Fantastic Four problem. Like, Johnny, what are you just doing here by
Yeah.
yourself? And he's like, oh, it's okay, we got this. And also my new, like, you know, my new life mate or whatever is here, and she's gonna help out too. And he didn't know how it was gonna go, and all the rest of the family are like, I don't know about her living here, like, I don't know if it's gonna work out with these two, like, seems kind of quick.
Yeah.
And, you know, with Johnny and his flings and all this, you know, because he's the big playboy
Yeah.
character, right? So
Is he actually going to settle down?
right. It was funny. Even in this, they're like, "Oh, is this kind of like this one or this one?" Like, he's mentioning
Yeah.
all his like past
they're
like
different
lovers,
girls, yeah.
and he's like, "Shut up!" Yeah, it's just like, and then like his sister, Invisible Woman, basically like forces her to go with him, like, because she's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, they're never gonna survive this trip, right?" But then they end up coming back. They go and deal with this thing where now the mole people that I guess that some of their caverns were taken down by construction in Wyatt Wingfoot's reserve, like Indian reserve kind of thing. They got destroyed by construction, so then they allowed him to come live with his tribe, with his people, and now the mole man, I guess, was pissed off about that, and they all kind of came to some sort of a conclusion here towards the end. Where I know it sounds ridiculous,
It was ridiculous.
yeah, but yeah, I liked it. I give it a 4. I liked it. I thought the art was good. I thought the story was like a nice little one and done. I thought the story is going into interesting directions now. Johnny and this woman now are gonna, what's her name again? Sorry, I forgot.
Sky.
Yeah, they're going to go live in Ben's wife's apartment. Yeah,
Her condo, because she doesn't need it. So
yeah, she lives with Ben now. Yeah. So isn't that awesome how they can make so many rooms in their apartment too? He's just like, oh, there's endless rooms in this. Like
we need those in this time.
Yeah, because he's got that technology that can just expand and change the actual structure.
Fuck, we really need that in this day and age right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave this a 4 too. I enjoyed it. I'm so happy we're out of that other fucking horrible arc. But yeah, I see progression in this, and I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yeah.
And I always like the Mr. Fantastic and Thing moments, like at the end when they're, just talking, shooting the shit, just being more real to each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a 4. Next up is Deadpool. This is issue number 4 by Kelly Thompson and Chris Boccello. Boccello.
I think so. Yeah.
I say it different every time. I thought there was gonna be more Jeff. I really wanted more Jeff.
Yeah.
But
his shark companion Jeff.
Yes, I mixed up the fact that I saw the name of the issue and I thought it was Jeff and Wade, but that was just a little ender. Yeah,
they had like a little 2-pager at the end that
and
had.
That's all Jeff and Wade was. I really wanted it to be the whole issue. This was good. It just continued with Kraven and Deadpool's fight for a while. Deadpool goes on to his own. He wants to basically abandon his role being the king here. He wants to quit. He doesn't want to do it. He doesn't think that he's, up for the job. What's the woman's name here? The redhead? I always forget.
I know, and then you always ask me, and I always forget.
Whoever this redhead is.
Elsa Bloodstone.
That's her name. Yeah, she talks him back into, that it's better to be in this role. Like, what do you think? What do you want? Like, everybody already expects you to quit. So, are you going to give it to them?
She kind of convinced him that way, saying, like, just like, fuck everybody else, just so I can do it to show them, prove it to them that you can do this.
Prove
like,
that you
no
will
one
do
believes you can pull this off or that you care.
Yeah, and he's just, like, emotionally holding Jeff just for, like, support.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good. But yeah, other than that was pretty much this issue. And then just the little ending where he's walking Jeff, and it was delightful. I gave it a 4.
Yeah. Yeah, we're giving a lot of the same ratings here today. Yeah, I also gave this a 4. Yeah, I thought it was another solid issue. Definitely didn't hit it as much of a high as the previous issues I felt from me as they were setting this up, but I thought it was a pretty good conclusion. It felt like, anyways, to this, even though we're on issue 4 of this kind of Monster Island arc, because now he's accepted the fact that he's going to be king there, and Chris Boccello, love his art style. There was a couple panels in here where he's guilty of the thing I find sometimes that he does, where you can't really tell what the fuck's going on in the panel.
A little bit, yeah.
Doesn't happen as often, I find, lately, or I've just gotten used to his style where I can normally tell. But I caught myself catching a couple panels like that in this, but it's so well worth it. I just love his style, so he's really great. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the next issue and see where this goes from here. But again, like usual, Kelly Thompson brought it with the good dialogue and story pacing. I feel she knows characters well, so she's a good writer in that sense. And another good writer that knows characters well and how to write them is Tom Taylor, and we got DCeased Unkillables number 2 of 3 here, and the artist on this is now I lost the page because it's great when they put it always on a different page here for us. Carl Mostert, who I talked about last time we talked about this book, who's new to me. I'm not really familiar with him, but he kind of has like a Frank Quietly light type style. definitely like shades of that. And Chris Burnham, who, you know, a lot of people would say look like, or Nick Patara, like definitely those guys all have kind of similar styles, but Quietly was like the first one I feel that they all kind of took inspiration from in that sense. But he's not as good. But this was still. But no, I'm just saying. Like I hate to say it. That's why I said like Quietly Light, because I'm just like, it's good and it looks like him, but it's not. Yeah. But no, the art was good. I like the artist on this. This was a hell of a lot of fun, man. I love this series so much. So in this, basically the Wonder Woman who turned into like essentially like a zombie from the previous DCeased series now showed up in this. And she ripped fucking the guy that you hate apart here. What's his name? Oh, fuck. What the hell's his name? The Eternal guy. Vandal Savage. Yeah, that's his name. Yeah. I know you just don't really, you're not really a fan of him. Yeah. So basically she shows up and he just like, she just like busts through the wall and he's like, oh fuck, it's a zombie Wonder Woman. And he knows like right away that he's fucked. She just grabs him and rips him fucking apart. And it's like his intestines, his shirt flying everywhere. It's really bloody. And she's like covered in fucking blood. I was like, holy shit, that was crazy. And not only that, because she basically finds where all these bad guys are holed up in this. Like, that's basically what this series has been, the Unkillables. But it's also referencing the fact that people like the Creeper and Deathstroke, they aren't affected by this virus for whatever reason. So they're trying to find a way where they can test them and find out what it is that is making them, not be able to, immune to this shit. So in this, and then you also got a Lady Shiva moment where, you know, she is the one who trained Cassandra Cain, Batgirl. So she actually tried to come and grab her, like she's her mother, but she basically came to grab her. She used Mirror Master to like go to where the good people were holed up, her and Jason Todd in this, and offered them to come join them. But she's like, no, we have a bunch of kids here with, there's like 20 something kids. And we gotta bring them with us if we do that. And she's like, no, that's too many. We can't risk it. And she's like, okay, well then I'm staying with the kids. And she's like, okay. She's like, you could stay here with us. And she's like, no. And she just fucking fucked off.
Bye.
Right? And then meanwhile you got Bane and Deathstroke and Vandal Savage and Cheetah and like Deathstroke's daughter, who I'm blanking on her name right now. They're all just hanging out in this base, Grundy. And then something goes down with that Wonder Woman shit, and they all have to get out of there. So Mirror Master starts taking everybody back to where the good people are, Gordon and Jason Todd and Cassandra. And then he leaves Killer Frost behind, and he ends up going back to save him. He ends up getting killed, so now they've lost their mode of transportation, which is really shitty because he was really useful in this situation now. So Frost ends up killing him when he goes back because he got turned into a zombie. And then basically now that they're all holed up together and they can't really see eye to eye because they're bad guys, and like Gordon's like, I'm not fucking working with Bane. Like he's like, yeah, you know what I had to do against this guy in my city, like to keep it. And they all kind of fucking guy did right, and they all kind of came to some sort of a truce where they're like, okay, well we got 20 something kids here, we have to train them then. Like if they're gonna survive out there and we don't want them to be a liability, we're gonna have to teach them some skills. And then it just turns into like a school of like training them, and that's my favorite fucking part. They're like gun practice with Destro or with Deadshot, and then like you see them like doing that, and then like you see them fighting with Cassandra Cain, and then they're like, and then other types of classes, and you see the Creeper, he's just and less conventional classes, and then he's just like on the board it says witty things to say when beheading undead. And then Cheetah's class is literally just like how to kill Wonder Woman because she hates Wonder Woman. And Bane is just like I don't know, like reading things to them about like society and stuff like that.
So odd.
He always teaches them like history. Yeah,
it's so fun.
Yeah, and then the best is like Cheetah, like she's like the girl comes to like thank Cheetah, and they say, and then it came to a certain point where we actually learned to like the children, and like Grundy's like groaning and shit, and he's like doing this whole like born on a Monday, doing it, just, and he's like happy on Sunday, and he's like playing with all the kids, and then Cheetah's sitting there, and the girl comes around, and she's like, what do you want? And she's like, I just wanted to say thank you, I learned a lot, you're a good teacher. She's like, and a good kitty, and she like gives her a pat. and she like growls and she like walks off, and then she has like a smile on her face.
Yeah.
And then they come in and catch her. She's like, "You didn't see nothing." Yeah. Like, yeah. So it was just nice. I just laughed out loud when that moment happened. Anyways, by the end of this, the fucking Bane gets Mirror Master finds out where they are. He comes out of a mirror, attacks Bane, turns him into a zombie. Then Bane goes through the wall, and as a result, all the zombies are flooding into the room at the end of this. I gotta say though, I felt this one for the first time ever. I felt a little Walking Deadish to me, a little bit.
Maybe
like just
because they're holed up somewhere.
Yes. It felt like some of the dynamics that you would have read in a Walking Dead comic.
But how much can you really do with zombies? So
right. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm not holding it against it as a bad thing. Yeah. Anyways, I'm looking forward to the conclusion of this miniseries, and they've already announced another miniseries that's going to be coming out after this. Nice. So I just really love this DCeased series so far. It's a lot of fun. Tom Taylor has a good voice for all the characters, a lot of funny moments, and it's just action-packed and exciting, and I give it a 5. I really
like it gets lighthearted, and it's still in like a horror comic. Like,
he's able to find those moments.
It still has some like humor in it.
Well, that's what I mean. For a moment there, it was just like they forgot about everything that was going on in the world, and they're just having fun getting to know these children and training them, and you know what I mean? Like, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, never mind, fucking Bane zombies busting through the wall, you know, and a couple of them actually died. Deadshot,
psychopaths and monsters.
Deadshot died at the end there. Yeah. Bane's dead. There's a couple of them that turn. I think by the end there, all he had was Cassandra Cain and Jason Todd and Deathstroke.
Cheetah.
And then, I guess there was still a few of them, but there was a couple of them that died like right away. Yeah.
I gave it a 5 too. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Next up, we got X-Ray Robot. This is by Michael Allred. I think he's story and art on this.
Yeah. And Laura
is coloring, as usual.
Yeah.
This was interesting. Very Me Too at the very beginning there. I was like,
yeah,
well, that's a way to start it.
Yeah. There was some sexual harassment that was going on in the company, and the woman used it to leverage herself on the team. Or she said she was going to sue. She has witnesses now.
Yeah. So essentially, literally, it started off with, I guess, a meeting between scientists, and the one guy walks out, and he hears some conversation going on in the hallway, and you see this guy in a suit grabbing this woman in a lab coat's boob, and she's like smacking him away. And then when he catches up to the other scientist guy who kind of overheard everything, caught up to the woman to see if she was okay, then she goes, "Hold on a second, you saw all of this? You're a witness? Okay, 1 second, I got this." And she goes and talks to him, the guy who grabbed her, and slapped him 3 times, which was awesome. And then also told him basically that he has to fund their projects and do his due diligence, and she made it work in her favor.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out that they're basically launching this robot that they... What the fuck is he supposed to do?
So that's the thing.
I was unclear.
Yeah, that's the thing I wanted to ask you about. Essentially, this robot is able to travel through time, and he connects himself through putting a visor on his head. He puts himself, his mind in the robot, and
was that supposed to have happened? I guess so. Yeah,
I believe so. I think that's the intention of it. But the thing that happens towards the end is he basically sees himself in the future as the robot, and now he comes back from the future as the robot now. And here's the thing, and that's why I wanted to clarify it with you. I feel that although how much I love Michael Allred's art, I don't feel that he's always the strongest writer. So I felt that this was a little confusing, and I don't know if it was a problem on my end of me just not understanding it, or if it just wasn't clear, because...
there was a lot of information for a first issue.
Maybe, but I don't know. At least from past experiences, I would chalk it up
a little bit convoluted.
Yeah, I would chalk it up to somewhat to his writing, because I don't know. The first half of it was fine, but then they kind of just jumped into it, and I don't feel him actually operating the robot.
Yeah,
and there was a lot of crazy shit going on, but I don't think they actually gave you that much of an explanation as to why these things were happening. You just kind of almost had to just... follow along best you could, right? I don't know. That was my impression of it, because it seems like he started going through time, he puts on this the helmet, and then the robot itself is the thing that's traveling through time as
he's seeing it.
Because the robot disappeared
That's why
the first
they called
time.
it, like, the X-ray.
Right. Because the first time the robot disappeared in the room to everybody else.
Back,
they couldn't see, but he had his helmet on. Then it came back, and then he said, oh my God, the things I saw, all these crazy things.
Yeah, he saw everything.
And then he went home and he had like crazy dreams and all that. And then the next time they did it, he disappeared, and then he appeared again from, I guess, the future where he was like the robot.
Yeah, he went through some crazy trippy fucking space time, and then he's like ripping off weird goopy robot substance.
Right.
Yeah, it was a little convoluted. The art looked fantastic.
Like, yeah, it's like all red. Like, it's like, without being said, we're big fans of Mike Allred here, and him.
This has potential to be really cool.
Yeah,
it's just it needs to streamline a story.
Yeah.
Here. I don't even know what to give this. I'll give it a 4. I want to give it a 4.5 because the art was really good.
Wow.
But I'll probably stick to a 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also going to give it a 4, but based on story, I wanted to give this a 3.5, but the art is so great, and I'm such a fan of Mike Allred, I'll bump it up to 4 as well. But I would not go for higher than that, because if this was illustrated by somebody else,
it would have been down.
I would give it less. Yeah, so let's just put it that way.
For sure.
But I'm sticking. It's only going to be like a 4-issue miniseries. I'm sticking, or 4 or 5. I'm sticking with it. I say.
Yeah.
You think as well?
I'd stick with it, for sure.
All right. So then next up we got Bang number 2. Bang! This is written by Matt Kint, art by Wilfredo Torres, and we didn't talk about the first issue on the show because I didn't
pick it up on time.
Yeah, I didn't pick it up initially. I read it in between, the time it came out, and the second issue. By the time that came out, I figured, okay, let's talk about it now on the show. I liked the first issue. Basically, it is the setup of this is there's a bunch of like literary characters that actually exist in real life. The first issue is very much like a James Bond type of character.
Yes.
And the James Bond kind of character found another James Bond. There's been, I guess, this has been something they've talked about before. Like, it's a theory that they've also had about James Bond in the James Bond movies. Is that there's never one James Bond. Like, there's very good chances that all those people that you've seen in the different movies, the reason there is different James Bonds is because there's always different James Bonds, you know what I mean? Like, and they've never actually said that, but it's like more of like a fan theory or like something that's been explored that I've heard a little bit about. And of course, James Bond, the actual characters, also was written in novels. Exactly. So this, I guess, was playing on that, the fact that by the end of the first issue, we're following this James Bond type character. He comes across another person that he claimed was also like a James Bond type character prior to him, but his name wasn't James Bond, it was something else.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then in this, throughout the whole issue, you're basically seeing a John McClane like Die Hard type character. This is essentially him. The artist Wilfredo Torres, as far as I know, made this character out to look like Bruce Willis, young Bruce Willis in like the original Die Hards. This is your action star that you're following throughout this issue. So meanwhile, in 2 issues, you've already had 2 different types of genre type characters, and I believe that's the point of this series, is that in each issue he's going to introduce you to like another type of character and bring them together. I heard Matt Kit reference this as basically his Black Hammer universe, but I think it's going to be all of like different types of action or literary characters and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, and by the end of this, he actually meets up with a James Bond type character by the end of this, and he's like, it seems like he's rounding everybody up at this point. So
there's one point person that's getting people together from all these different genres, and they are books that are written about them. Right,
and then each issue so far has started out with a prose piece that's like an excerpt from a book that would feature this character that would actually give you a little bit of insight into
what you're getting into.
Yeah, who this character is. So far, I think it's a pretty interesting premise. I'm a big fan of Matt Kent. He's not drawing this. I like his art. I wouldn't have minded if he drew this, but I can understand why he'd want an artist like this to draw this type of book as opposed to his style, because it's very, some would say simplistic and not really, you know what I mean? I don't know if he would be the best artist for this, but I think that Rolfredo Torres so far has been doing a good job. We've seen him work with Mark Millar not too long ago on a series.
True,
he did Jupiter's, one of those Jupiter's Legacy books. I don't know. It wasn't the first one. Frank Quietly did that. But Circle, Jupiter's Circle, I think it was. Yeah, he did one of those, and that looked really great. So, I liked it. I give it a 4. I think I'm not blown away by the series so far, but I think it's real interesting. I'm enjoying it. It's always like a nice, enjoyable, quick read. Both issues have been so far. And I think it's building into something pretty cool.
I like the concept a lot.
Yeah.
Like the concept of this is really neat. I like
it. Has a lot of
idea.
Potential, like to be something that builds to be like a really, really.
He does a lot of build up stuff, Matt Kent. So I'm looking forward to this. I gave this a 4 as well. I thought it was a good issue. I liked the first issue better than this one, actually.
Okay.
Which is why I gave this one a 4, just because I really liked the first one.
Right.
I really do think that this has potential to be really cool.
Yeah, so I think we're sticking with it for now as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because I liked these inhaler things that this guy had.
Well, I'm interested to see what other characters each issue brings, right? Like, I kind of think it's a cool little concept, and if done well, by the time
really
this
awesome.
5-issue series is done, if he does plan on doing a bunch of different miniseries in this same world, like a Black Hammer, then I would be into that.
For sure.
Like if it depending on how it goes, right? So
so my last book of the recording, I was gonna say night, but it's not nighttime right now. Is Ascender by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. Holy shit! This issue, so good. This is what I love. Yeah, this was an instant 5 for me. You had all the original characters come back.
Yes.
You got to see everybody in this. So you got to see, what's his face's daughter. What the hell's his name again? Andy.
Yeah.
Andy's daughter. She, gets fed up. She cuts off her hair, gives herself like a different look. She's still on the boat, and they're trying to still find, get back to safety. They think her dad is dead. You find her dad in a cell with her mother, essentially.
Who's a vampire now.
Robot fucking cyborg.
Yeah.
And he's trying to talk to her, which she actually ends up getting through, but there's another guy, an old man there that's working on, what the fuck is he even working on? He's working on some type of a spell. Mm-hmm. And she just bites the shit out of him, just murders him. Just I feel better now. I've eaten, and just lets him out. This was so good.
No, but he forces him to kill her, put a stake through her.
Get there, yeah. But yes,
that was a dramatic moment.
I know.
That whole 1-page panel of him just thrusting it through.
Well, yeah, it came out for a little while.
Splash page, I guess. Yeah.
They were talking to each other, and she's worried because the mother has control over her because of the vampirism and whatever, and she, even though feeding would mean she's able to stave it off and stuff, like you said, he ends up having to stab her through the heart.
Yeah.
And that's fucking crazy. But that wasn't even the best part, because Driller's back.
Yeah.
It was a 5.
Yeah.
It was so good.
I squealed out with enjoyment. Yes, because you reminded me when I read this. But it was such a great issue because, like you said, it brought everybody back together. It moved away from the last 2 issues of telling that fucking story of that witch woman, which I was not as interested in.
I didn't like that issue at all.
This
I don't really care.
Really well paced. Lots of great moments in this, bringing back all the characters. And when it ended on that last page and Driller came back, I was fucking yeah. I was I just just fucking yelled out. I was like so excited to see him because he was like my favorite character from Descender. And like he even did his Driller is a real killer type line, but he said Driller's a killer, Driller's a real ghost killer because he killed a ghost essentially in this at the end of this issue. And now because we're dealing in Descender time, like it's different than Descender, and there is like things like that and magic and ghosts and stuff like that all over the place. So I fucking loved it. I gave it a 5. I was like, yeah, this is probably like one of my favorite issues.
I died when
of
you
the
fucking
series.
squealed at the
end. Man, I just loved it because I didn't expect to see him. I know we were seeing everybody else, but even a while ago, I said to you, I'm like, oh, I wish they brought Driller back somehow. Like we haven't heard
a couple issues.
We haven't heard anything about him, right? So the fact that he showed back up, I was really happy about that. Okay, and then last off here, we got Batman 91, written by James Tynion, and there's a few different artists on this one. We got Rafael Albuquerque, Jorge Jimenez or George Jimenez, and Carlo Pagulin, Danny Mickey on inks. Great bunch of artists. I mean, Jorge Jimenez, he did the art on the last issue, which I commended this book for because, like, up to that point, I felt they didn't really find, like, a great artist to knock it out of the park. And the last issue being my favorite one was a big reason was because of that he drew that one. But then Rafael Albuquerque, love Rafael Albuquerque. I was happy to see him on there. Carlo Pagulin looked fine too in this. I think he also drew some an issue or two prior to this. He was fine, probably. My least favorite out of the 3, but still good. And the way they broke it up, it was smartly done where they were able to break up the different scenes. Like you had Batman and Deathstroke fighting in this. That was all drawn by Rafael Albuquerque. Jorge Jimenez, he drew the whole Joker scene, the intro of the Joker telling the story, like continuing the story about this designer character. And then you had Carlo do the Harley and Catwoman scenes together of the reveal of the designer now coming after them, and them talking about it because they were both there originally, as well as you learned last issue, right? And they're trying to fight back against him. But basically at the end, the designer is now caught back up with Batman and Deathstroke because Deathstroke was part of it. He had hired him, I guess, to possibly distract him or fuck up their plan. So as he's fighting Deathstroke this whole time, Deathstroke's like, listen, I can't help you. I don't have any information on this guy. I made it so that way on purpose. Like, I don't need to know. And it looks like the Riddler, who was one of the other characters that the designer had apparently tried to help out way back when, appeared on a bunch of screens as they're like fighting, like in like a square wherever they are at the end there.
It looks like a Times Square type deal.
Yeah, he appeared on a bunch of screens, and then he basically, designer now, it seems like, has brought Riddler along to fuck with them, and then it seems like it's going to be like a Riddler centric issue next one. It's called
That's exciting.
Which I'm excited for. It says next the Maze Master, so I was like, oh, interesting. Okay, so what does he have planned for them now with the Riddler, right? Because Harley and Catwoman aren't really working with him. We haven't seen Penguin yet, so it's possible he might still come out of nowhere as well. And if Joker has his way, it looks like Joker doesn't even like this designer guy, so he might come and fuck up his plans as well, right?
I like the way they did the Joker story a little bit on this one.
Yeah, no, they look great. I give it a 4. I thought it was a pretty solid issue. Now that they've set the stage for this storyline as of last issue and kind of set it in the right direction now, where before I didn't feel like it was in a good spot, I'm looking forward to what comes next at this point.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they finally got their start. It was a long-winded way to get here.
Yeah.
And like to start introducing this designer character. I gave this a 4 as well. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. I am looking forward to next issue though. I always like
Did we all give the exact rating for every book tonight?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't think we were off on anything.
Right. I think
no, just the one. The Mike Allred. Oh no, we did give it the same.
No, because you said you were thinking of giving it a 4.5, and I was thinking of giving it a 3.5. We both met in the middle on that one. All right, well, there you have it, guys. Sometimes that happens, but not all the time, so you can't call us out for that one. Okay, so that means we have 3 contenders for our favorite of the week here. Although I feel in my mind, at least, there's only one clear winner, and that is Ascender number 10. I think you would agree. Yes.
I
Okay,
do
there you go.
agree.
And
My runner-up would be Family Tree.
I think mine was going to be Deceased. I was going
Yeah.
to say out of the 2 because again, I love that book so much, and it's always been a runner-up for me, if not the winner, whenever it comes out. So. Family Tree was great too, though. But
Family Tree was so fucking crazy.
Yeah,
I was not expecting that from this issue. That's why that caught me so off guard.
Right, but Ascender, there you go,
Ascender
guys.
was the
At number
kicker.
10.
Yeah.
So if you're not reading it, go do yourself a favor and pick this series up. But you may want to read Descender
Descender
first.
first,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you might have.
How have you not read it yet?
With everybody in quarantine or self-isolating or whatever you want to call it right now,
Lots
though,
of things to do.
you have plenty of time to seek this book out
Yeah.
and read it if you can find it now. I don't even know.
Or at this point, read it online
Yeah,
somewhere.
that's
but
true.
If you're, excuse me, if you are able to support your comic book stores,
Absolutely,
do so.
absolutely, because they
It's
need your
worth
help
it.
more than ever right now.
Yeah. Like any local store at this point.
Yeah.
Like fucking shop local right
Yeah,
now. 'Cause
absolutely.
our
If you can.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
that's the
exactly.
thing,
But
yeah.
our economy's going to, even if you can buy online at this point, if they have an opportunity to do so,
Right.
we should.
All right. Well, there you have it, guys. Again, stay safe and healthy out there. And
Stay indoors.
I'm not sure as of yet what we will be doing next week. I hope to get our comics, like I had previously talked about, with their curbside pickup
Who knows
option
what's
from
going
our
on, though.
store. But whether or not it is going to happen, because they were still kind of in the works of doing that, I am not positive on. So you may hear
Keep
us talk
track
about
with-
new
on our
issues.
on our social media.
Yeah, we'll make an announcement about it, and if not, we should be coming back in some sort of form or talking about something related to comics. All right,
Yeah.
so all right, so we'll see you guys next time.
Stay safe.